The week ahead, it is obviously end of month and end of quarter, so we'll start seeing some tinkering with portfolios to match the various performances and to realign them with performance and CCCs over the quarter. And that would tend to indicate, above all in the US, that you'll see a little bit more allocation away from equities to bond markets. Though one would also emphasize that actually inflows into equities have been quite minimal during the quarter despite the rally. In terms of data, it's largely a very hefty week for US and Japanese data. The US sees, amongst other things, the final version of Q4 GDP, existing pending home sales, housing starts, personal income and PCE, and probably most importantly, consumer confidence, which is expected to carry on with the rebound that we saw in the last month, up to 132. Over in Japan, we have the usual run of end-of-month data, including CPI, industrial production, retail sales, and unemployment. In the Euro area, it's mostly about surveys. So we have on Monday, we will have the IFO business climate, and it will be interesting to see whether that mirrors the disastrous performance of the German manufacturing PMI, or whether it's perhaps offering a slightly less negative view of German manufacturing as we go forward. We also have the Eurozone confidence surveys, and to end the week, we have German, French, and Eurozone CPI, which are basically expected to underline the point that for all the ECB's efforts, there actually hasn't been really any sign of an upward trend emerging, above all on core CPI, which is expected to stay around 1%. On top of all of those, we actually have a very, very busy week for Fed speak. Pretty much anybody and everybody, aside from Mr. Powell, who's obviously had his opportunity this week speaking, and it'll be interesting to see how what sort of guidance they offer, given the market seems to be somewhat confused. We'll also have rate decisions in New Zealand, which are expected to hold, but perhaps indicate after after the neutral Q4 GDP numbers that still the risks on rates are to the downside, given the weak performance of inflation. And elsewhere, we also have rate decisions in South Africa, where it's really more a case of watching what's going to be done about the infrastructure problems they're having there, and indeed in Mexico, where the central bank governor this week has been quite emphatic that he will only respond to a downturn in inflation when he decides to cut rates, rather than make any attempt to try and boost growth.